Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records, making him the first former president to be a convicted felon.
His sentencing now set for July 11th, just days before Republicans are expected to formally nominate him as their presidential candidate. We have live team coverage. Doug Williams live outside Trump Tower, where the former president will speak later this morning. Let's begin, though, with CBS News' Elijah Westbrook, who is live from the criminal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Elijah?
Well, Chris and Mary, were being told that there was an audible gasp that resounded across the courtroom once word came down that a verdict had been reached by the jury. And once that verdict was read out loud, we're being told that Donald Trump glared at each of the jurors as the word guilty was said 34 times. Now, we know that the jury, which is composed of 12 Manhattan residents, found that Trump illegally falsified business records to cover up a $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. The jury delivered the verdict in just over 11 hours. Now, the prosecution's star witness, Trump fixer Michael Cohen, gave a crucial testimony that directly implicated Trump in falsifying the $130,000 payment. The presumptive Republican nominee is now a convicted felon.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt.
The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
Now, Trump's sentencing is set for July 11th at 10 a.m., just days before Republicans are expected to formally nominate him for president. He could face anything from probation to prison time, although legal experts we spoke to say it's highly unlikely we will see the former president behind bars. That is the latest at this time. From Lower Manhattan, Elijah Westbrook, CBS 2 News.
Elijah, thank you. The former president spending the night at Trump Tower in Midtown, where he's set to hold a news conference later this morning.
CBS News' Doug Williams is there live with that part of the story. Doug.
Mary and Chris, good morning. Want to give you an idea of just how quiet it is outside Trump Tower right now. You can see out front, there's actually police barricades. There are more police and media than pedestrians and civilians at this hour. The sidewalk right outside Trump Tower is closed to any walking traffic. Across the street is open. It's also empty. No protesters, demonstrators, Trump supporters of any kind. And at 11 a.m. this morning, a new phase begins for the former president, who will try and spin this guilty verdict into something his supporters can continue to rally behind. Chopper 2 was over Trump Tower after yesterday's verdict. The crowd at its largest was earlier in the evening. Former President Trump seen returning to Trump Tower at about 6:15. He waved to a crowd of his supporters. Our crews caught up with New Yorkers representing opinions on both sides after the guilty verdict.
Why did he be here? Because I think somebody has to stand up and say, this is invalid. You can't do this kind of law. This destroys American jurisprudence.
It's insane. That's never happened before in history. So this is something that we're living, and I don't even know how this is going to turn out. I'm shocked.
That took a lot of courage for that jury to come back with that kind of a charge against him. I just think it's amazing.
And as for what's planned for 11 o'clock this morning at Trump Tower behind me, unclear if the press is going to be able to ask questions or whether former President Trump will answer questions. Yesterday in the courthouse, he called the trial and the whole process unfair, talked about the judge, which he did throughout really the preceding trial, and also then steered to a conversation about the country. And so we'll see if President Trump brings more of that campaign rhetoric into his remarks today and leaves the trial behind him going forward, and now the guilty verdict as well. We're live outside Trump Tower in Midtown. Doug Williams, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Doug.